Long ago, when the world was young and the gods still walked openly among mortals, there came a time of great darkness. Not the darkness of night which brings rest in dreams, but the darkness of poverty, despair, and spiritual emptiness that can settle over the hearts of beings like a heavy shroud. In those days, Lakshmi, the Divine Mother in her aspect as the goddess of abundance, prosperity, and spiritual wealth, had withdrawn from the world. She had not left in anger, but in sorrow, for she had watched as beings became greedy, selfish, and blind to the sacred nature of abundance itself. Where once her presence had blessed the earth with golden harvests, fragrant flowers, and the prosperity that comes from righteous action, now there was only scarcity. The fields grew barren, the rivers ran low, even the trees seemed to forget how to bear fruit. But far worse than physical poverty was the spiritual emptiness that crept into the hearts of all beings. People forgot how to be grateful. They forgot that true wealth comes not from hoarding, but from sharing. They forgot that abundance is not just gold and grain, but the richness of love, the prosperity of peace, and the treasure of wisdom. They began to see only lack where they once had seen plenty. The gods themselves felt this absence keenly. Her eternal consort Vishnu sat in deep meditation, his 4 arms folded in contemplation. The lotus that had always bloomed from his navel began to wilt. Even Brahma, seated upon that cosmic lotus, found his creative power diminishing. For without Lakshmi's presence, what was the point of creating wealth that would not be appreciated, beauty that would not be seen, abundance that would not be shared? Indra watched his celestial gardens grow pale. The wish-fulfilling trees stopped granting desires. The divine cows that gave endless milk grew silent. The treasurer of the gods sat before empty vaults, his usual joy replaced with bewilderment. But it was the children who suffered the most. On earth, babies cried with a hunger that no food could satisfy, for they were hungry for the divine abundance that nourishes not just the body, but the soul. Mothers wept as they had nothing to give them. Fathers walked around in confusion, their usual strength sapped by a poverty that seemed to come from the very breath that they breathed. The great sage Narada, who travels between all of the worlds carrying news and wisdom, came before Vishnu with tears in his eyes. "My lord," he said, "the 3 worlds are dying, not from lack of food or water, but from lack of hope. Without Lakshmi's grace, beings have forgotten that they are inherently abundant, inherently worthy, inherently blessed. They see themselves as poor beggars rather than children of the divine." Vishnu opened his eyes, and in them Narada saw infinite compassion mixed with infinite patience. "She has not abandoned us," Vishnu said softly. "She waits for us to remember what we have forgotten. She waits for us to call her back, not with greed, but with love. Not with demands, but with devotion." "But how, my lord?" Narada asked. "The people have forgotten how to truly worship. They know only how to want." Vishnu smiled, and for a moment, the cosmic darkness seemed to lessen. "Then we must remind them. We must show them that Lakshmi is not merely the goddess of gold, but the goddess of gratitude. Not merely the giver of wealth, but the awakener of wisdom. She does not come to those who grasp, but to those who give. She does not bless the closed fist, but the open heart." And so began the great teaching. Vishnu himself took human form and walked among the people, showing them, by example, how to live in abundance even when surrounded by apparent poverty. He taught them to find wealth in a kind word, prosperity in a generous act, treasure in a moment of peace. He showed them how to create beauty from nothing, how to make a feast from simple grain, how to find joy in the song of birds, how to see the golden light of the sun as the greatest treasure of all. And most importantly, he taught them to be grateful for what they had rather than always yearning for what they lacked. Slowly, like flowers opening to the dawn, hearts began to change. A poor widow shared her last handful of rice with an even poorer neighbor, and she felt richer than any queen. A merchant began giving away as much as he was selling, and his business bloomed beyond his wildest dreams. Children began to see magic in everyday things: the sparkle of water, the shimmer of leaves, the golden dust of the sunlight when it creeps through the window. As this transformation spread from heart to heart, from village to village, from world to world, something beautiful began to happen. The air itself began to shimmer with a golden light. Flowers that had not bloomed in years suddenly burst in radiant color. The earth began to exhale a sweet fragrance that made all beings feel peaceful and content. And then, on a night when the moon was full and the hearts of all beings were fullest of all with gratitude and love, she appeared. Lakshmi came, not with fanfare or thunderous announcement, but like the gentle dawn that slowly illuminates the world with its golden presence. She rose from the cosmic ocean, seated on a perfect lotus, her four hands blessing all directions simultaneously. Two divine elephants flanked her, pouring pure water that sparkled like liquid starlight. But it was her face that made all beings weep with joy. Indefinitely beautiful. Indefinitely compassionate. With eyes that saw not what each being lacked, but what each being truly was. Perfect expression of abundance itself. As her feet touched the earth, golden lotuses bloomed in her footsteps. As her hands moved in blessing, coins of pure light fell like gentle rain. But these were not ordinary coins. Each one that touched a being's heart transformed into exactly what they needed most. Healing for the sick, comfort for the grieving, wisdom for the confused, love for the lonely. My children, her voice came like the sound of temple bells mixed with flowing water. I never left you. I was always here, waiting in every act of kindness you performed, present in every moment of gratitude you felt, blessing you through every generous thought you shared. You could not see me because you were looking for me in the wrong places. She gestured to the world around them, and suddenly everyone could see what had always been true. The entire universe was already overflowing with abundance. The earth was a treasure house of infinite wealth. The sky, a vault of endless blue rivers. The sun was a coin of pure gold that brought them wealth and warmth and light every day without payment. The rain was liquid silver that made all things grow. True prosperity, Lakshmi continued, her words echoing in every heart. It's not about having more things. It is about recognizing that you already have everything you need. True wealth is not about accumulating, possessions. It is about understanding that you yourself are the most precious treasure in existence. She looked at each being with such love that they felt their hearts expand like lotus petals, opening to the sun. I am not the goddess who gives you abundance. I am the goddess who helps you recognize the abundance you already are. Every breath you take is my gift. Every beat of your heart is my blessing. Every thought of love you think is my presence within you. As she spoke, miraculous transformations occurred throughout the worlds. But these were not the miracles of poverty suddenly becoming wealth. These were the miracles of recognition. Beings suddenly seeing that they had always been wealthy beyond measure. The poor widow realized that she was rich in love. The sick man discovered he was abundant in courage. The lonely child understood that she was surrounded by the friendship of all of existence. The old man saw that his years of experience were treasures more valuable than gold. Even the gods were transformed by this recognition. Indra understood that his true kingdom was not his celestial palace, but the infinite space of consciousness itself. Brahma realized that his greatest creation was not the universe, but the awareness that perceived it. And Vishnu smiled as he recognized that his beloved Lakshmi had never been separate from him. She had always been his own power of grace manifest. From this day forward, Lakshmi declared, let this be known throughout all of the worlds. I do not come to those who simply pray for wealth. I come to those who understand that they are already wealthy beyond imagination. I do not bless those who merely ask for abundance. I bless those who realize that they are abundance itself. She looked directly into the heart of every being present, and in that moment, each one experienced the ultimate truth. They were not separate from the Divine Mother. They were not devotees worshipping from a distance. They were her own infinite abundance taking countless forms, playing countless roles, but never losing their essential nature as expressions of divine prosperity itself. When you feed the hungry, she continued, you are me feeding myself. When you comfort the suffering, you are me comforting myself. When you share your joy, you are me celebrating my own infinite nature. There is no giver and receiver. There is only the one abundance expressing itself in many forms. As her teaching reached its culmination, Lakshmi began to reveal her ultimate form. She expanded beyond her beautiful physical appearance to show herself as the prosperity that underlies all existence, the abundance of space that holds all forms, the wealth of time that allows all experiences, the treasure of consciousness that makes all life possible. I am the richness of your breath, the prosperity of your pulse, the abundance of your awareness. Her voice now came from everywhere and nowhere. I am the wealth that cannot be stolen, the treasure that cannot be lost, the prosperity that grows greater when shared. I am the golden thread that connects all beings, the silver cord that binds all hearts, the jeweled net in which every being is a precious gem reflecting all the others. And then, in a crescendo of golden light that filled all of the worlds, she spoke the final truth. You are not my devotees. You are not even my children. You are me dreaming that you are separate, playing that you are poor, pretending that you need something you don't already have. Wake up, my beloved selves. Remember who you are. In that moment of supreme recognition, all beings simultaneously awakened to their true nature. The cosmic game of hide and seek was revealed. They had been the very abundance they were seeking. They had been the very prosperity they were praying for. They had been the very wealth they thought they lacked. The celebration that followed lasted for eons, not because Lakshmi had returned from somewhere else, but because all beings had finally recognized that she had never been absent. The abundance had always been there. The prosperity had always been flowing. The wealth had always been present in their very existence, in their very breath, in the very capacity to love and be loved. From that day forward, a few nights of Navaratri have been celebrated in Lakshmi's honor. Not to call her from some distant heaven, but to remember what she taught, that we ourselves are the abundance we seek, the prosperity we desire, the wealth we already possess. And it is said that on these sacred nights, when hearts are pure and grateful, when hands are open in giving rather than in clenched grasping, when beings remember their true nature as expressions of infinite abundance, Lakshmi's presence becomes so clear, so obvious, so undeniable, that even the most forgetful souls remember who they really are. For Lakshmi's greatest miracle is not in making the poor rich or the empty full. Her greatest miracle is opening our eyes to see that we have always been rich. We have always been full. We have always been the very abundance that we're seeking outside of ourselves. This is her eternal message, whispered in every wind, reflected in every golden sunset, present in every generous heart. You are not separate from prosperity. You are prosperity itself, celebrating its own infinite nature through the beautiful dream of being you. If you liked this, subscribe for more, and don't forget to like it so that the souls that need this can get it.